On today's show, I'm going to talk to you about Disney, Jimmy Kimmel, and what we can do. Free speech, our rights, and ultimately, who holds the power in all of this. That's today's show. Stay tuned. So, today, I want to talk to you about the situation in America, but also worldwide. Today, I'm going to talk to you about who holds the real power in our world. And it's not who you think it is, despite what they reckon. In America, this week, Jimmy Kimmel has been removed from his show indefinitely because of comments he made about Charlie Kirk. Now, I think actually the comments weren't about Charlie Kirk. They were about people's reaction and the politicians' reaction to Charlie Kirk. But that all aside, really makes no difference what he said. The issue here is free speech. And if, like me, you believe in free speech, then this is a bit of an issue. When you start limiting the press, when you start limiting who says what and how they say it, then we've got a bit of a problem, because the democracy that you think you are in, is slowly, very slowly slipping away from you. So here's what I want to, let's get the basics to start with. A company called Nexstar wants to buy Tegna. For Nexstar to buy Tegna, they need the approval of the FCC. The FCC chairman says Jimmy Kimmel should be taken off the air. Now, the FCC issues license to broadcast stations and channels throughout the US, and it all gets a little bit technical. But the gist of this is, he says this, I think Jimmy Kimmel should be taken off air. I think it's a disgrace. Now, let me make this crystal clear. The FCC chair is MAGA, and MAGA's not happy. So when MAGA's not happy, MAGA starts putting its oar in. So what's happened is, MAGA's not happy, and you need the approval of the FCC for this merger that you want to do. You want to buy Tegna. So we're not going to let you buy Tegna, is the gist. That's not what they've said, but that's the implication. So what's happened is, the FCC's spoken. They can't legally do anything, but they can also make things very uneasy for you to buy this other company that you want to buy. So, ABC has pulled Jimmy Kimmel. ABC is owned by Disney. Disney owns a whole lot of things. So, let me find my button. Disney owns, amongst other things, ABC, Marvel, ESPN, Walt Disney Worlds, Walt Disney, Euro Disney, Disney Cruises, Lucasfilm, you name it, they own it. There's a lot of things that they own. But what I want to talk to you about is this. So they own an awful lot. And while they own an awful lot, we also buy an awful lot. And that's the crux of this. And what I want to ask, you may think that Jimmy Kimmel is, certainly in the UK, you will think, well, it's an American problem, what's this to do with us? The problem is, it soon becomes our problem, because you are now telling me what I can and can't watch. You've already told me what I can and can't teach in schools. You're already telling me what books are allowed and what aren't. You're already telling me that free speech is the key thing, and, I mean, Trump has got the bottle to come to the UK this week and say, just so you know, you've got a free speech problem, while limiting free speech in his own country. Go and figure that out. Not once did Biden, Obama, Clinton, or any other Democrat, to be fair, nor Republican, ever do this. They might be unhappy with somebody. They don't start threatening to pull licenses and block deals, but that's the world we're in. So, you can do many things. But why? Why should I? Why should I be bothered? Because ultimately, this is going to start affecting you. Once you get a dictator in power, and that is whether you admit it or not, is what Donald Trump either is or is becoming, that then has massive implications for everybody else. He didn't do everything he said he'd do. I'll end the war in Ukraine like that, still waiting. I'll sort healthcare, still waiting. Mexico will pay for the wall, still waiting. Donald Trump does not like people that speak badly about Donald Trump. It's that simple. He's not interested in anything else other than sycophants. People saying yes, and people saying, oh, Donald, you're so wonderful. Oh, it's so amazing. Oh, it's lovely. Comedians, especially in America, in late night, is a tradition. It's been, Johnny Carson must be turning in his grave, because you never once had a president do this. You never had an administration that would quite happily say, I don't like that, do something. And I don't quite get where the fear is. I understand that Nexstar wants to buy Tegna. I get so there's but ultimately, what is the fear that Donald Trump possesses over people? Is it that people, both in Congress and the Senate and the general public, are so afraid of MAGA, so afraid of a Paul Pelosi-style attack, that they then just fold? Where's the line? At what point do we sit and say, all right, okay, I've had enough of this? So I want to make crystal clear to you this, and to those that are MAGA that are watching this, before you start emailing me, think about it this way. Donald Trump's the current president. What happens? He's now set a precedent. And the precedence is, I can do what I want, is the gist of it. The Supreme Court will back me up, and I can do what I want. So if that's the case, what then happens when you get a Democrat? The next guy becomes a Democrat, or next woman is a Democrat. Then what are you going to do? Because you've just said to the president, whoever holds that office, they can do what they like. So answer this question. Before you start emailing me and start commenting and all the rest of the crap, answer me this. If a Democrat had done what Donald Trump has just done, what his administration is doing, tell me, what would your reaction be? And hand on heart, if you're honest with yourself, your reaction would be exactly the same as the rest of the world, which is, what are you doing? So, who has the power here? We do. We have the power. And it may seem insignificant, but we do. So, first off, companies owned by Disney. And Disney's the issue here. Disney haven't got the bottle to say to Donald Trump, actually, no, this is not what we're doing. We're not doing this. We are up and there for free speech. We are going to have free speech, and this is what we're going to do about it. So, they own ABC. They own 80% of ESPN. They own Winnie the Pooh, the Muppets, Pixar, Marvel, Lucas, Star Wars, and Indiana Jones, and the rest. They have assets in Fox Entertainment assets. Disney's biggest acquisition to date is its 2018 deal to acquire Fox's entertainment assets for $52.4 billion or $71.3 billion when they include the debt. So, this is the Fox brand that includes FX, National Geographic, 20th Century Studios, and other studios owned by Fox, such as Searchlight. So, Simpsons, Avatar, things like that. Star Wars, all now owned by Disney. Hulu. It bought Hulu in 2019 and has 100% ownership of Hulu. Excuse me. So, Fubo. That's pending, apparently. It wants 70% ownership of Fubo, which I've never heard of, but there you go. Some of you will have and will, I'm sure, use. My point by highlighting these companies is this. How many of you are sitting on social media or are walking down the street with placards and are saying, we're not doing this, and I'm fed up with this, and we're going to protest, and we're going to be... And listen, you have a right to peacefully protest. Go and do it. Knock yourselves out. I have no issue with peaceful protest. Bring it on. But I think we're being a bit dumb here. Because if I went to America and went to where these protests are taking place about Jimmy Kimmel, how many of those people holding placards are still paying for a Disney subscription, or are still watching Disney, or are still buying tickets at the cinema to see their films, or are watching ESPN or ABC, whether it's the news, or how basic does it need to be? And frankly, it does. It needs to be that basic. Your biggest power isn't just your voice, it's also where you spend your money. So if you're unhappy with what somebody's done, don't spend money. You don't like that Facebook's owner, Zuckerberg, is right there with Trump at the inauguration and he's all... Don't use Facebook. It's that simple. You don't like Amazon's policy and the fact that they're donating to political parties that you disagree with. Stop using Amazon. You don't like the BBC's coverage of something. Stop watching the BBC. It's simple. The biggest and easiest and quickest and safest message you can send is, I'm cancelling. And there's nothing they can do about it. They might give you offers and they might... But the biggest way to hit somebody and make somebody think, actually, is this the best idea, is money. Follow the money. This is all about money. Tegna wants to be sold. Nexstar wants to buy it. It's about money. The FCC says yes or no. That's the ball game. So we're going to do all we can to keep the FCC on board and keep them happy. But while doing that, what we're going to do is cancel people that disagree. Because the minute people upset Donald Trump and his administration, the chances of us getting this license, this okay to do this, are gone. Now, the FCC, heads up, is meant to be independent. Doesn't have political sides. The FCC, while appointed by presidents when vacancies occur, is independent, but they're not being independent. So, in this country, we saw protests a few weeks ago about immigration. While I'm on this subject, just say this. If you're going to, you have a responsibility. You have a responsibility to check that the news you are checking, you are watching, is actually true. Because, unfortunately, the days of certain outlets actually reporting the news and just the news and the facts of the news without a slant are gone. If you only watch right-wing news or you only watch left-wing news, you are not getting a broad opinion. You are not getting a broad look at the facts. What you're getting is, well, the one narrative that they want to push. So for God's sake, before you start cutting your money or spending your money or protesting or writing letters, emails, whatever, be sure what the actual facts are. Be sure what the facts are and do your homework. You have that responsibility. You might not want that responsibility, but if you want to protest in the streets, you've got to know what you're protesting. You've got to know what you're protesting and believe, and I will say again, follow the money. So here we had immigration protests. Didn't end well. And I will tell you, the police have no issue with you peacefully protesting, knock yourselves out. The minute you stop being peaceful, then we've got a problem. But what frustrates me is, and I have this in my daily life, can't get an appointment with a doctor. Oh, there's not enough dentists. I've tried for months to get into the dentist. Did you ring your MP? Well, no. I mean, what's the point? It's the system. Who do you think changes the system? Who do you think represents you? Who is it you think you vote for? What do you think these people do? If you can't get a doctor's appointment, ring your MP. If you can't get a dentist, ring your MP. That's what they are there for. And if your MP doesn't know what the issues are in your area because you're not telling them, what is it exactly you expect to change? Nothing. Nothing's going to change. So, you can't get an appointment at the doctor's, you're not happy with something, whatever it is. I'm not happy with the government's policy on immigration. I'm not happy with the overseas foreign aid budget. I'm not happy with the colour of his tie. Whatever it is. Your first stop is this. And it took me 30 seconds on Google to find this. I'll put a link to it below in the chat. members.parliament.uk/members/comments. Put your name or your postcode, the name of the MP, your postcode or your location, and it will tell you who your MP is. It will then give you the link to contact that person, their email address. It's simple. Nobody does it. You get the regular people that have always complained to MPs because that's what they do. But ultimately, there are so many ways in which you, as a consumer, as a person, have power. And these are two of them. You have power by what you spend, where you spend it, and how you spend it, what you watch. If everybody stopped watching ABC and Disney, believe me, the advertising revenues fall through the floor. Because why would I pay hundreds of millions of pounds to advertise my new trainers or my new anti-sweat spray, whatever it is, perfumes? I mean, there's adverts for everything. Why would I pay that to ABC to advertise in prime time when nobody's watching? When actually, over here on CNN, people are watching. And on CBS, they're watching. Ultimately, there are so many ways in which we can be powerful. Money controls everything. Money controls people. Money controls people. We all work. We work to earn money because that's what we need to live. I pray for the day that we don't need money. Can't wait for the days of the Star Trek generation to hit where money's not actually the object. Peace, love, tranquility is. Unfortunately, we're not there yet. But ultimately, you have so much power in those pound coins in your pocket, in those dollar bills in your wallet. You're not happy, don't spend your money. You don't like Tesco's new policy on carrier bags. You don't. I mean, I have to be honest. I'm gonna pick one of my pet peeves here: self-checkouts at Asda. So I go to the shop. I've done my shop. I get to the till. I've then got to serve myself. Have I saved any money doing this? No. Nobody's knocking money off my shopping bill. I can see. In fact, if anything, it's all got more expensive. I then get to the till, I've done my thing, and then it says, do you want a receipt? Now, I always get a receipt. My husband, not so much. You then don't get said receipt and are then stopped at a barrier. And at the barrier, they say, we need to check it. Or the best one, the absolute best one is when it comes up with this spot check thing and they say, we need to rescan everything you've just scanned. Now, I embarrass my husband at this point. And I do not care. Because my attitude is then, tell you what, put the lot back, I'm off. Or, as I did recently, I take everything off the till, in the bag, and I go and stand at a till with a person that's serving. I don't like self-scans. I don't like the fact that you have put people out of jobs to save money, and the only person saving money is you. And I'm now having to do more work. And then you've got the cheek. You've got the absolute cheek to stop and check what I've scanned. Either by doing this, well, I've got to scan 3 of your items, or I've got to scan every item you've scanned, or I'm going to stop you at the barrier and say, can I have a look at your receipt and look in your bag? For the police to stop me in the street to search me, they have to have reasonable grounds. But sodding Asda don't have to have any. They can simply stand there and say, well, we need to check your shopping. No. No. That's not how this is going to work, love. I've paid my money. I've scanned my stuff. I've got my shopping. I'm off. Open the gate. The other one, I mean, I've had it in B&Q, or, I mean, I've had it in most supermarkets. Do you want to come to this self-scan, love? No. My response is always no. I don't work here. I don't. I'm the customer. What happened to the days of, I love how you do it? I mean, I worked on checkouts. I know how checkouts work. I loved working on checkouts because you talk to people, you meet people. Whatever happened to, how are the family, how are you doing? You get to know these people. These people no longer exist. They're not there. Of the 100 checkouts in Doncaster, when I worked there, there's now 20. The rest is self-scan. Do you want to come to this one? No. Help packing your bag? No chance. Never going to happen. Stop using self-scans. If every single person stopped using self-scans that hate self-scans, believe me, they would get rid of self-scans. M&S in the UK had rave reviews. Absolute, brilliant news coverage, because we are going to open tills for lonely people. People that don't see anybody. So we're going to put people on tills, and you can take your time and you can have a chat. Didn't we have that before? And you're taking them out, and now you see you're getting praised for putting things back in. Is it just me? Is it seriously just me? Because it's not. I don't work here. So stop using. I mean, obviously, if we all stopped using every supermarket, I think we'd starve. But there's still things you have to do, you can do in your power. Because believe me, if they've got 30, 40 people at each checkout waiting to be served, they will put more checkouts in. There will be more staff. It's that simple. Yes, it may be quicker to wait, but inevitably, it isn't. I've bought alcohol, I've got to wait. The red light's flashing and she's over there gassing to her mate, and there's 3 people for 60 tills. And, hello? Can you take this off the bottle and authorise this? It's ridiculous. I mean, the world has become ridiculous. So, you want to know how we can change things and change things for the better. Start being a bit wiser. Start looking at where you're spending money. We can sit and say Disney and ABC, that's fine. They're the people that have got rid of Kimmel. And this isn't about Kimmel, this is about everybody. This is about you and it's about me. But Kimmel's the sort of the straw that's broken the back for me. But it's then all these other companies that are owned or controlled or have shares held by Disney, ESPN. How many of you watch football and sport and the rest of it? Stop watching. Cancel your subscriptions. The minute you cancel your subscriptions, and people do this, when you get 1 million people that suddenly cancel a subscription like that, believe me, the world will, for these people, will change. They will say, hang on a minute. This isn't about just free speech anymore. This is about what's right and what's wrong. And what's going on is wrong. In this country, in the UK, you are not happy about immigration. It's plastered everywhere, and it's plastered everywhere because that's the narrative that certain parties, certain people want you to talk about. That's all they want you to talk about, migrants. They don't want you to talk about the billionaires that are having offshore accounts. They don't want to talk to you about the MP for Clacton that is apparently, we've just exchanged contracts on a house, but I don't own the house. But even though I don't own the house, I went to see a KC, a King's Counsel, who's a tax advisor. How many people in the UK, show of hands, haven't bought a property, have no interest in that property, don't have any input into that property other than it's my partner's property, How many people have actually then thought, do you know, actually, if you're buying this house and we're not married, I need to get a tax lawyer. I need to check what my tax issue is here. Do you know why nobody's ever done that? Because it's not. There is no tax. It's not your house. What's your tax burden? There is no tax burden. It's not mine. It's his. It's hers. So, if you're buying the crap that people are putting down, listen, you enjoy. You got what you wanted. We have the power. We have the power. If you're not happy, tell your MP. And when it comes to it, if your MP isn't doing anything, remember this when it comes to election time. Remember that I came to you and said that the bus stop down the street had been demolished and I'm now having to walk further, and you did nothing about it. I'm not giving you my vote. It's about the small things, but it's also about the massive things. The war in Gaza has got... The UN says genocide. I buy genocide. I believe it's a genocide. I thought that long before they say genocide. I agree. How many of us have written to MPs and said, what on earth are you doing about this? Why aren't you doing anything about this? Can you explain to me? And guess what? They work for you. So there is nothing wrong in saying to your MP, please explain to me why you've done nothing. Why there's nothing on the Commons record that says that you have spoken about this, you've brought it up. Where are your questions about this? Where are your letters that you've sent to the Foreign Secretary, to the Prime Minister to say, what are we going to do to knock this off? You have power. What people want you to forget is you don't. That's what they want you to believe. They want you to believe that you are a nobody, and ultimately, we run the world, you'll do as you're told. And, yes, you will. You will follow the laws. You will pay your taxes and all the rest of it. But the rest of your money has power. The way you spend your money has power. Ultimately, we need to start boxing a bit clever, as my granddad would say. We need to start thinking things through a bit deeper and a bit more thoughtfully, and we need to look at what information we are accepting as true, because believe me, it's not all true. It's not all true, and it's sad that it's not, but hey-ho, this is the world we live in, and you have to start doing your homework. Do you know how many people complain about Facebook on Facebook, and you sit and think, what? My personal and the show accounts, Hail Talk Radio and the Rob Weston Show's accounts on X, formerly Twitter, are deactivated. They're there. We don't use them. We don't use them because I don't agree with him. I don't agree with one having to pay for something that's always been free. I don't agree with the fact that you are now right-wing and are so far right, and anything that's said, again, free speech, anything that's negative that you don't like, Elon, you take off. Guess what? Not happy, not using Twitter. How many people bought Teslas and then went, we need a sticker for the Tesla because I can't say people can't know it's a Tesla? How many people stopped buying Teslas? That had an effect. You have power. It is that simple. If you don't think it is that simple, you need to give your heads a wobble, because it is. We need to remember where that power lies. We need to remember that we can do things other than rioting in the street, which quite frankly is beneath a lot of us. It's not beneath a lot of us, it's beneath us all. That is not the society we want. Write to your MP, speak to your MP, email, phone, visit, whatever you want to do. You have an MP, you have a senator, you have a congressman, congresswoman. In America, you have state and federal. Here we just have, we have local councillors, I suppose. Talk to them, complain to them, moan to them. You want somebody to stop doing something, the best way is to stop spending money. If you're not happy that Asda, and seriously, I'm not happy with Asda. If you're not getting that Asda, pick up the crap I'm dropping, because seriously, it's ridiculous. You're stopping me at the time. It's a really pet peeve of mine. And I used to work for Asda. The world is coming apart. And I actually said to my mother-in-law last week that I was quite convinced, and I still am, quite convinced that in my lifetime we will see World War III. And I have no doubt about that. I've no doubt that we will see World War III because that's the way the world is going. We're not doing anything. We are simply sitting back and watching the world fall apart and thinking, well, it's not to do with me, it's them. I'm no longer, by the way, blaming Donald Trump for the issues in America. I'm blaming the people that voted for Donald Trump. You got what you voted for. You're not happy, and even in this country, we're not happy that you have still not released the Epstein files. And let me just be clear. Logically, let's think about this. The Epstein files, according to Trump, exonerate Trump, but I'm not releasing them. Let's just take a second, deep breath, and think about that one. The Epstein files exonerate me, but I'm not going to share them. No, I don't get that either. If I had files that exonerated me from being associated with one of the biggest human trafficker, paedophile, whatever label you want to give him, whichever one you want to recognise first, I would have billboards up everywhere. This is the file. This is what it is. You cannot keep going through life wondering and saying, I don't vote because I'm not political. And I don't vote because I don't really understand it. You are no longer in a position in a world where you can afford not to understand it. You have a moral obligation, if not a legal one, to actually sit and learn and ask the right questions of the right people. If you don't vote or haven't voted and you then sit and say, well, what's the point in this? What do you think is going to change if you keep doing the same thing? Nothing. Not happy with the Kimmel thing. I'm not happy with the Kimmel thing. Disney's cancelled. Not watching it. Done. Sorted. Done my bit. If enough people did that, stop subscriptions, cancelled this, not doing this, not going to the pictures to see their movies. Who made the movie? No, not doing that. There's 2 films in the cinema I want to go and see, and I haven't checked yet, but if they're made by Disney, I won't be going because it pays Disney. And Disney don't need my money. Disney does not respect my values. Disney doesn't have any respect for anything that I think, because what Disney have done is say, what's more important is this merger. What's more important is limiting somebody's free speech. What's more important is Donald Trump. Donald Trump is more important than your money, Rob. So we're going to stick with Donald. And if that's the way they want to do it, knock yourselves out. Absolutely fine with me. But there's more than one Rob. If you've still got a subscription, if you're still using Facebook but you're not happy with Facebook, you're still shopping in Asda but you're not happy with Asda, wake up. Contact your MPs, contact your councillors, contact your senators, contact your congressmen, your congresswomen. There's so many things we can do to get change. Are we doing them? Remember, you can email us. I'll put that up on the screen now. hail@hailtalkradio.com. Don't forget to give us a like, a share, and a subscribe. Don't forget to hit the little bell thing so you get notified when we post. We're going to be posting a lot more frequently from now on, I've decided. And in a world that is constantly changing, let's try and all be a bit more kind. hail@hailtalkradio.com. Follow us on Instagram at The Rob Weston Show. Visit the website, hailtalkradio.com. And until next time, be kind and God bless.